First of all, I would like to give a brief introduction of the company and how it changed in protocol responding to coronavirus. Starbucks Corporation is an American multinational chain of coffee houses and roasteries reserves, headquartered in Seattle, Washington. It is the largest coffee house in the world. The company operates 30,000 locations worldwide in over 77 countries. Starbucks locations serve hot and cold drinks, bread, and snacks. Starbucks targets every age group, competing with other coffee chains and bakeries. Starbucks uses a premium pricing strategy, taking advantage of the behavioral tendency of people's perceived correlation between high price and high value. Most businesses have been impacted during coronavirus. Our group found out how Starbucks reacted through the internet and interview of Starbucks employee. Firstly, safety is the priority goal of Starbucks. Starbucks exceed recommendations of the CDC on cleaning standards. Employees should wear masks and wash hands per 30 minutes regardless. If an employee got the virus, store will close for 48 hours if fever under 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, all employees will go into 14-day quarantine. Secondly, due to high risk generated by original in-store purchase mode, Starbucks closed more stores and cafes and implemented drive-through operations in reduced hours. Employees don't have to work now but will be paid $3 per hour bonus if they do work. Currently, 50% employees still work. Employees will return to work on May the 4th. If under high risk, they will be paid to not work until May the 31st. Otherwise, they need sick days or unexcused absences. From May the 4th, Starbucks started using block scheduling, where employees in each block are fixed. Since peers are not from the same store as they were, cooperation is a problem. Generally speaking, China is on the model right now, since the virus spread out 6 weeks ahead.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how Starbucks is treating their employees and what's going on in the mindset of the employees. So employees are scared right now. They don't necessarily want to come into work. And what has Starbucks done? They've actually implemented a compensation plan that allows employees to be paid while at home. Now this goes until May 4th. Now why are employees scared to come in? Well, obviously they don't want to contract the virus. But Starbucks is implementing a lot of safety plans for both the employees and the customers. And here's an outline of what Starbucks is doing to help out their employees. Now, of course, what does this say about Starbucks? It says that they're putting their employees first. They want their doors to be open, and they want customers coming, and they want their employees to feel safe while they are in the store. Now, what's one of the big problems right now? One of the big problems is that 50, 60 cars are being lined up at a drive-thru. People are lining up for 30, 45 minutes on end, and this is putting a lot of stress on Starbucks employees. Now, what is something we can do to solve this? Well, first off, it is putting a lot of strain on the employees, and at the same time, the compensation plan is giving Starbucks employees a reason not to come into work because they're being paid from at home. So solution is, and we actually talked to a current manager at Starbucks, a friend of ours, and he was saying a promotional benefits idea where you will get extra benefits, extra promotional pay for coming into work because Starbucks really needs the work from its employees. It's already implemented the safety features. Now it just needs the employees to come in and handle the 50, 60 cars that they have in line right now. Now let's toss it over to the next subject.
So to begin, motivation is the psychological force that causes people to invest effort into action. And when people are motivated, they have a desire to expand their effort. This results in outcomes of higher quality of work produced and quantity. So we could recommend that Starbucks should reward their employees during this time with promotional benefits. To begin, we're going to look at the model between the effort and performance link, otherwise known as expectancy. So, if employees show up to work for their scheduled block and are compensated additionally while working during a pandemic, then they will contribute to the success of the business and will be individually recognized by the manager. In order to make employees feel that their effort will lead to success, promotional opportunities should be defined by the store manager and goals should be communicated by the employee. According to the goal setting theory, the employee should understand the confidence, knowledge, skills, and abilities to achieve the goal, and the manager should communicate that individual drive, hours invested weekly, and being a team player will also influence their performance evaluation. In addition, store managers should provide supportive feedback weekly to communicate the progress of their employees to help them reach their preferred outcomes. The next link we're going to talk about is between performance and outcome, otherwise known as instrumentality. So, in order to make employees feel like their success leads to rewards, managers should establish metrics used to define performance. So, these metrics should be defined as the number of hours the employee works each week, whether the employee is prompt and present during his scheduled block, and whether the employee is willing to go above and beyond to cover shifts in the event that the establishment is understaffed. So, the last part of the model that we're going to look at is the outcomes or the valence. So, employees should value the outcomes as it demonstrates leadership skills, integrity, and hard work, which are all qualities that are beneficial to the success of the organization and personal development. Because Starbucks is already extremely generous with employee compensation, managers should motivate their employees by individualizing these rewards, as we previously spoke with setting specific goals. So, working with employees to help meet their career objectives at Starbucks is extremely valuable and can really motivate an employee to succeed if they see that their manager is equally invested in their performance. In addition, the more hours put forth will allow employees to feel a greater sense of respect from their managers as they demonstrate their leadership capabilities and ability to work in high-pressure, at-risk environments, which speaks volumes and is a critical piece of experience to have because it shows that you are adaptable under any circumstances. So this respect will be shown by the manager handing over more responsibility to the employee and placing them in a higher position of power. The last outcome is employee flexibility, which results from promotional benefits and the buildup of respect and responsibilities. So, as employees advance, the opportunities to schedule their own work hours becomes more available, which is another huge incentive that comes at the cost of working more and is highly valued by employees because it really does help them establish their own routine. So overall, it is really important to note that the expectancy theory is successful in predicting motivated outcomes and actions of Starbucks employees, and that the stronger the employee's expectancy, instrumentality, and valence beliefs, the higher the task effort, job performance, and productivity of the individual.
When providing rewards and incentives, there's always a risk for downfalls. One drawback in using the EPO theory is the outcome, or in this case, the financial incentives Starbucks provides to employees if they choose to work. It can be dangerous sometimes to offer compensation as a motivating factor for employees due to the fact that some employees may deem it unfair. Some employees right now are capable of working and want to work, but they believe it's not in their best interest to do so at the time. And they may think that just because another employee is willing to put their safety at risk does not mean they should be paid more. They may believe there is a distributive injustice, leading to frustration and potentially leading to a higher turnover rate for Starbucks. To combat this problem, however, Starbucks has not used too large of a compensation to create a pay dispersion, thus preventing employees from the feeling that they've lost autonomy. They have also balanced their financial rewards with corporate recognition, which is proven to be the number one motivating factor among employees. Starbucks is maximizing their distributive justice by incorporating clearly communicated opportunities for rewards and recognition and not using a too large of a compensation to create jealousy and frustration between employees. A second drawback could be the risk of employee resistance due to a feeling of threatened autonomy. It may seem that Starbucks simply doesn't care about their employees by asking them to work at this time, and that they're being manipulated by Starbucks. And for this, they may feel as though they are not in control. To combat this, however, Starbucks has maintained high interactional justice by providing resources to keep their employees safe, both physically and mentally. For example, their use of block scheduling helps maintain safety by minimizing contact with other employees and keeping a small number of employees in the building at one time. They've also provided services such as access to free therapy sessions or mental health healing, and they have also provided rules that they put in place for store closure among any ill employee. If an employee reports a fever of 100.4 degrees or lower, Starbucks will close that store for a minimum of 48 hours or until that employee's symptoms have improved. If the fever reaches 100.4 degrees or higher, they will then follow the typical 14-day quarantine procedures set in place by the government. Lastly, Starbucks has implemented a drive-through only policy and shortened most of their hours to minimize customer contact and thus decreasing danger. They will also pay for any health bills incurred by an ill employee. Most importantly, though, Starbucks has made it clear that working is ultimately up to the employee. It is their decision, and there will be no penalties for staying home. Therefore, their feeling of autonomy can be increased. Despite the potential drawbacks of using the EPO model to boost employee motivation, there are many ways for Starbucks to mitigate any adverse effects of this plan. By tying the rewards and incentives directly to the P2O link, ensuring that employees will value the outcome, and delivering their rewards and incentives in a respectful, clear manner, Starbucks can lessen the risk of providing these incentives.